You know that feeling? It's like the world isn't ending with some huge explosion, but more um, a quiet fade out, a kind of whimper.
Yeah, that slow erosion. It makes you think about endings differently, doesn't it? Not just the Big Bang, but the creeping kind.
Right. And that kind of sets up what we're digging into today. One of you sent us this amazing Substack post. It's by a freelancer, Alvin McLean, based in Manila.
Oh yeah, what's it called?
The title really hooked me. They called me crazy for leaving. I called it living.
Okay, intriguing. So is it about literally leaving Manila?
Well, yeah, but first he's talking about this feeling of an apocalypse. You know, the burnout, the endless screen time, dreams kind of slipping away, just going through the motions, not really living.
Ah, so he's already feeling that fade before anything big happens in his story. That sense of depletion.
Exactly. He paints this really vivid picture. Freelancing in Manila, it sounds like freedom, but it turned into just constant work. 10 plus hours on screens, client calls bleeding into evenings, late nights, barely going outside.
Wow, the classic freelance trap, maybe.
Totally. He even mentions like physical stuff, anxiety, fatigue, being constipated because he quit smoking, this feeling that something vital was just gone.
It's that constant on state, isn't it? It erodes things, maybe creativity, connection, just quiet time, things we need.
Yeah, and we often just ignore those signs,
Yeah,
right? Just being busy.
we do. We really do.
But then Alvin hits this point. Saturday, July 19th, 2025, 1:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
He just stops
Stops what?
everything.
Yeah.
Closes the laptop mid-task, phone off, ignores a call. He's just done. Gets in his car, starts driving towards the coast. Just needs to escape.
Whoa, that's a definite breaking point. Have you listening ever felt that? That need to just shut it all down?
It feels like a real primal urge, doesn't it, to break free?
Definitely. Like your own system saying, enough.
But here's the twist. He's driving, trying to escape his personal burnout apocalypse, and then at 3:30 p.m., the actual apocalypse happens.
Wait, really? The actual end of the world?
Yep. The post is vague on the cause virus, fungus, something ancient, who knows, but it's fast. Half the world infected in 2 weeks. Cities fall, systems collapse, everything just stops.
Wow. So his personal crisis gets completely overshadowed by this global one. Talk about timing.
Right. It puts things in perspective, huh? How fragile it all is.
No kidding. So what happens to Alvin? Does he make it?
He does. He survives. And his first reaction is, well, it's almost funny.
Funny.
Because he's suddenly free. No deadlines, no clients, no algorithms. He finally has time. So what does he do?
Okay, I'm curious now.
He plays all the games he saved on his Steam Deck. He digs this massive hole in his yard, fills it with beer and a pool floaty, just chills.
Huh. Okay, I can kind of see that. A weird kind of liberation.
Totally. He steals a painting from the National Museum, sets up bowling in an abandoned IKEA, even films an indie movie using mannequins as actors.
Seriously, that's amazing in a way. It's like the pressure valve released and all this buried creativity or whimsy came out.
Exactly. But, you know, that kind of manic fun doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
Things change again.
Okay. How?
He starts seeing what he calls the turning.
Yeah.
People change. Their skin gets pale, hair fades, voices become whispers.
Uh-oh. Zombies.
Not quite. Not like in
Yeah.
the movies.
Yeah.
They're stuck, frozen in their last emotion, or repeating old routines.
What do you mean?
Like someone raging endlessly, or someone waiting forever at a bus stop that isn't running, pushing an invisible shopping cart. Just echoes of their old life.
That's deeply unsettling. It's like a metaphor for being stuck in a rut, but made literal and terrifying.
Right. It's this powerful image of like living death, just going through the motions, frozen.
And a danger we all face, maybe. Becoming automatons in our own lives.
Why do you think so?
And he almost turns himself, just starts fading out. But something saves him, pulls him back.
What saves
He
him?
finds this hidden settlement way up in the mountains, and they've figured something out.
Yeah.
Color. Vibrant color seems to slow down the turning, maybe even stop it.
Color. Like paint. Like life. They've made the whole place explode with it. Rooftop gardens overflowing, balconies dripping with vines, wildflowers everywhere. It's incredibly vibrant.
Wow. So they fought the fade with brightness.
Yeah. Alvin fills his own place with flower petals, roses, lavender, sunflowers. And he says it's the first time he feels like he can really breathe.
That's fascinating. Is it just literal color in the story, or is it, a metaphor for needing richness, beauty, sensory stuff in our lives? Stuff our modern world sometimes lacks.
Could be
Oh,
both.
yeah.
It definitely speaks to how beauty and nature nourish us when life gets too gray, too functional. Maybe we do start to fade.
And this settlement, it sounds like paradise at first. Organic food they grow themselves. Real talks, shared meals, laughter, bonfires. No screens, no hustle.
Sounds pretty good after what he's been through.
Yeah, he feels human again. Finds purpose, planting things, cooking for people. Real community.
I sense a but coming.
Yeah. Even paradise can become a loop, right? A comfortable page.
Mm.
Stagnation. Even in a good place, if there's no challenge, no growth, it can become its own kind of fading.
That's exactly what hits Alvin.
Yeah.
He wakes up one day just feeling tired, not physically, but like soul tired.
Emotionally drained.
Yeah. He notices his hair looks lighter again, skin is duller. The spark is gone. He's not really engaging.
Oh no, even with all the color and community.
And he has this realization. He thinks about all the things he never did because he was always working or later just trying to survive. Never saw the northern lights, never jumped off a cliff, never saw meteor showers, never really looked at street art or danced in the rain.
The unlived life, haunting.
Right. And he realizes he stayed in the settlement partly out of fear of turning, fear of the outside. But then he thinks maybe staying safe is just another way to fade away.
That's a powerful insight, that true living isn't just avoiding bad stuff, it's actively seeking, life, pushing boundaries.
Yeah, safety can become its own prison.
It really can.
So he decides to leave.
Leave the safe place, the colorful paradise.
Yep. Packs his few things. People there think he's crazy, obviously, leaving safety. But he has to.
Does he have a plan? Know where he's going?
Nope. No plan at all. Just this deep need to see more, to experience whatever's left out there.
That takes courage. Choosing the unknown over comfortable safety. That really speaks to that human drive for, exploration.
It does. And what he does out there is amazing. He's not just surviving anymore.
What's he doing?
He starts creating. He finds ruined buildings and paints these huge, bright murals on them. He plants wildflowers and cracks in the pavement.
Wow. Beauty against the decay.
Exactly. He writes poetry in empty plazas, sings in abandoned temples, dances on rooftops nobody will ever see. He's shifted from survival to, active, defiant living, creating meaning.
That's incredible. It makes you think, doesn't it? How can we create beauty or meaning when things feel bleak or challenging in our own lives?
Yeah, maybe it's small things, right? Plant on the windowsill, writing, appreciating something simple, just pushing back against the gray.
Actively asserting creativity, asserting life.
And that leads to Alvin's big question for all of us reading his post. He asks, what if the real apocalypse, the one of burnout, isolation, numbness, what if that's already happened for a lot of us?
Oof, that hits hard.
Right. What if the turning isn't some sci-fi thing, but just settling, getting stuck in routines that drain us until we're just pale versions of ourselves?
So he's reframing his whole experience as a metaphor for our everyday lives.
Exactly. And he offers this idea, he calls it a rebellious thought. Break the loop. Do something completely unnecessary but beautiful. Learn to say no to things that just suck the life out of you. Find your own color.
I love that. A rebellion of beauty and intentionality.
Because, he says, even if a world feels like it's ending sometimes with all the pressures, you don't have to end. You don't have to fade.
It's a call to look at our own lives, isn't it? Where are we fading? Where are we settling? And what small acts of rebellion, what splashes of color can we bring in?
Yeah. So let's turn that question to you, listening right now. What's your adventure? Maybe it's not crossing a literal wasteland, but what is it?
What are the cracks in your day-to-day where you could plant some metaphorical wildflowers?
What does rebellion look like for you? Maybe it's reclaiming 15 minutes for something you love. Maybe it's saying no to that extra commitment.
And remember what Alvin points out. If you're hearing this, engaging with ideas like this, you've already survived so much. The daily grind, the pressures, you're resilient.
You really are. You've navigated the complexities. You're here.
So the question isn't if you can survive, it's how you choose to live now.
Exactly. Now.
Yeah.
It's time to live.